I will be talking about this subject in continuation a little bit about micro-targeting and kind of customer perspective pricing. So I wanted to start with an interesting survey that was done last year by KPMG. It's called Customer First Report. And actually, it just shows a huge gap between companies that are aware that they need to be doing customer-centric pricing and base their services that way versus the ones that actually think that they're doing it. So if you look at some percentages, because revenue people love percentages, 89% of CEOs of those companies thought that in the future they will be competing solely based on the customer-centric pricing, right? And then 82% of them think that 3 years from now, their current product will not be relevant to the customers that are currently buying it. So we really need to think about how are we going to change in that matter. And then 60% of those CEOs do understand that they need to be competing based on pricing. On the other side of the spectrum, 60% as well don't do businesses anymore with companies where they had bad customer experience. And then we can see almost 3 times more year-over-year revenue growth percentage, which is 9.5 versus 3.4. For the companies that are basing their pricing on the customer perspective. And then the sad part is that only 7% of those companies do believe that they are doing the right strategies right now and that they are actually basing their whole strategies and business on the customer-centric perspective. So we do see a difference where in this digital age, we have also almost lost a touch with the customer, and I love what you guys are doing because that's kind of like, working in that direction. And the thing is that I'll give you an example of Netflix. For example, they used to be a DVD delivery at home product, and they use all the data with people's preferences, likings, etc., and they became a huge media company. So it's just thinking about what your customers want and changing your product towards their liking. One of the ways to do that is micro-targeting. If we think about micro-targeting, it's really finding the right customer, presenting them with the right message to buy your product. But first, we need to ask ourselves some of the questions. So who are your customers? What's driving their behavior? How are they keeping track of their habits, preferences, likes, dislikes? So we are all talking big data, right? Many times said today, but who's actually, taking all this data from your social media and combining all this data from your POS, from your RMS? How much do you really know about your customers, and how much are you really using that data in day-to-day basis? So I'll give you one example. If I have an inn with a brewery, and somebody comes and has my beer, and they really like it, how am I going to make sure that next time when I have a brewery weekend for the whole 3 days, that this customer will be presented with that and make a trip to my hotel because it's going to be really interesting to them. We will have unlimited tasting, and we will have a brewery weekend, and we will bake the bread with beer, etc. So I need to, on day-to-day basis, kind of really capture those customers. And also, what other tools do we have out there? What are we not using that we could utilize better? It's easy to do same reports all over again. And this word, I think, wins today, even though it wasn't in the beginning. So personalization, and again, I'm going to cut it because a lot of people spoke about it today. But I just wanted to give you an example. You can take a look on the board of really what's happening, right? So when we talked about personalization, it was really kind of luxury related before. And you knew when you booked luxury, you were not just going to get fancy sheets, but you were also going to get personalized service. Well, right now you have these, hip, modern hotels that will be so personal that they will know what's your favorite beer at the check-in and will offer it to you as a part of rewards program. So we really need to think outside of the box and kind of retain those customers that way. And really, it's not just about name usage, which now 52% of properties actually do that throughout your stay, not just at your check-in, right? So you have to really think, how are you going to retain those customers? Thank you.